Hey, we are two Star Wars nerds, and today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite arcs, the Death Watch arc. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. One, I love Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. Two, I love Death Watch. There's just a lot of really cool stuff at play here. So just for the general overview, and then we can do some of the deep dives and ratings, all that fun stuff. So basically this is the one where you go a little bit deeper with Satine and Obi, with Mandalore, and what they thought was kind of like an agricultural society on Concordia. You get Pre-Vizsla, Death Watch, the Darksaber. You got all sorts of crazy stuff, and the stuff starts popping off. And it's pretty much all centered around Duchess Satine and Mandalore in general, because she's the leader of like the free systems,
right?
And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. There's a bunch of political intrigue and crazy stuff happening. I would say a terror word, but I don't know if I add ism to the end, if it'll flag us and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, what do you like about this? Like, what deep dives do you like?
I love getting to see Satine, and Satine's a cool character, but I like her more for Obi-Wan and just the development that it puts on him, and it just makes you think, now this has nothing to do with the arc, but it just deepens the story of Star Wars as a whole. It just makes me think Satine or Obi-Wan probably knew what Anakin was going through with Padme more than Anakin realized. And I wonder what would have happened if he would have been honest with Obi-Wan, and they could have, kind of helped each other through wanting to be in a relationship, and I guess not really being able to, or how maybe do things need to change a little bit. I feel like it just shows that Obi-Wan, it humanizes Obi-Wan, because you always see him as more of this proper Jedi, and you get to see him as a human who has emotions and has formed attachments. And I just think it's such a great picture of Obi-Wan, of the Jedi at large. And I wonder, because obviously in this arc we see that Anakin finds out about the past, and I just wonder what would have happened if he would have talked to Obi-Wan about Padme before she had to sit on the couch pregnant, saying, yeah, it's his baby. And I also wonder and like I said, this has really nothing to do with the arc, it just makes me think more. I also wonder too if Obi-Wan picked up on, I feel like he had to have known about Padme and Anakin before that moment, because he had been in a relationship trying to hide it too, so I feel like he would see the signs. So I just feel like he was maybe trying to not deal with it and keep his focus on what was happening at hand. But that's kind of a super deep of why I like the episode. I just like how it makes me think, and it makes you wonder like what would have happened if, what if type of scenario. But yeah, I also do like Satine. I like the development of Mandalore, of the different sects, I guess, of Mandalorians, seeing their lore, just seeing into, because I believe this was the first time we chronologically we see more about Mandalorians. Like we know from the OT, a little tiny bit because of Boba's armor and all that, and then obviously knowing who he's a clone of, and learning a little bit more about Jango Fett in the prequels, and then this just dives deeper into their history and where that all kind of came from.
Yeah, for sure. On screen, that's like the first time you're really seeing more. And you just dropped a whole bunch of stuff though, and then you just leave it. You can't just talk about Obi and Satine and Anakin and Mandalorians and just be like, those are thoughts.
Those are my thoughts. So that's why I like the episode, because that's what I love about good storytelling in Star Wars. It's not just what you're watching, it's how does this connect to the rest of the plot at large. Like, that's what a good story does. It's not limited to just a one-off episode, and you don't have to watch everything else to know what's going on. Like, I love that you have to really understand Star Wars, you do have to watch Clone Wars. You do have to read books. Like, it's just so much bigger than the 6 movies.
Yeah, and that even gets into like a larger discussion for why certain things work and certain things don't, because then in storytelling, like,
yeah, I was just trying to hold my tongue.
Well, it's hard because it's like you can have a degree of storytelling where, like most sci-fi, for instance, when you're reading it, right, the first couple chapters, you're like, what in the world is going on? I have no idea. You're like
because you're just thrown into
this universe, and there's all this jargon you don't understand.
And that's how A New Hope started.
Yeah, and it works to a degree, you know. But then sometimes you get stuff like Marvel, where it's like if you just hop in at one of the tail end movies, you're like, I have no idea what's happening,
right?
Because they are all so interconnected. It becomes less about individual movies and more of like a continuous story spread out. And that's what I like about, if I'm just being honest, kind of pre-Disney Star Wars, because you get both.
Right.
You get a continuous story, but then stuff stands alone as well. You get a nice taste of both. But yeah, for this arc, man, one thing that really bothered me, and I reached out to some people who are EU nerds, they don't, like, Obi and Satine talk about when they met, and they talk about this year that they spent together. And I heard that there's some fan fiction that's currently being written about that, but there's nothing official. And so it's like, oh, there was no closure, you know. And it's like, that's the stuff I like, where it's like this reference, and then, you know, you can dig deeper into this. That's really cool. One thing I like that we haven't brought up yet was the manipulation of Palpatine at play. You see him in the background, really working through Dooku, then through Death Watch to get
what he wants.
To get, really, it's less about getting Mandalore, but it's more about taking out Satine, and it's more about bringing chaos and disruption.
Right.
And you just see all sorts of crazy things, like when it's like, hey, we're gonna send troops here, and oh no, we're not, you know, and all of this. And so I really liked that, you know, because you get like the Republic occupation of Mandalore. That's really cool. And so that's what I like. You know, you have this idea of this fringe cult out on a moon that's really, you know, a T group that comes in and just causes chaos.
Right.
And they want a violent takeover. And then at the same time, they're really just pawns being used by the separatists to break up, you know, these really independent systems.
Right.
Which, that's a pawn being used for Palpatine, you know.
Yes.
And so you just see how war in the world or the galaxy really works. And, you know, I like that a lot. I think that's cool. I think the only two things I can think of that are just cool facts, you know, is that Jon Favreau voices Pre Vizsla, which is cool. You know, he's a man of many talents. Very impressed by everything he does. But then also, like we talked about Obi and Satine and Anakin and Obi and this connection.
So much connection there.
Yeah, but the elevator scene, you know, I almost forgot about that, but how Anakin and Obi are talking, and Obi's talking about how he's nervous, you know, to meet with Satine. And it's just a reflection, or an inversion rather, of what happened in Attack of the Clones. And it does make you wonder, you know, like, what if there was more open discourse? There's a lot of very interesting things at play that make you think and ponder.
Even if Satine and Padme, like, spoke, like, as who the positions they held, and then being interested in Jedis, and just, that's a unheard of territory, I guess. No one's walked it, really. And so it's like, you guys are right next to each other, like. Yeah. And, you know, at least in the Attack of the Clones novel, you get some of Padme's insights in her mind, where she's like, wow, is he really wanting me? You know, does he really like me? Because they're not supposed to. And like, but why would he act like this? You know, and then the falling, and then it's like, oh, it's this forbidden thing. And
So I think in the same way, Satine's like, they're two people of power.
Yep.
And it's like...
And they're passionate about what they are doing, their positions and the authority that they have, and they don't want to compromise it. But they're also humans who are in love. So it's a tricky place to be. And
I don't remember his name. Maybe I have it here. But then there's the scene with the senator. Oh gosh, what is his name? I don't remember. But the senator who is actually basically trying to get Satine killed with the little droids. You remember what I'm talking about? Whatever his name is. You don't remember?
I'm thinking.
So
no.
that's, they have all the assassin droids in the episode, and they're trying to get Satine killed.
I just don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. But then even
it's
when
very
he's...
like Padme, though.
When he's pitting Obi and Satine against each other, he's like, oh, Satine, if you kill me, this is what happens. And Obi, if you kill me, all this.
And Anakin.
And Anakin, just offset that.
Anakin.
But anyway, with all of that, let's just get to rankings. So what would you rank this?
I really like this arc. It's probably like an 8.5.
Nice. So far, we've been pretty in sync. I would give it an 8 out of 10.
I like those 0.5s.
You do. Yeah, for me, the 8 out of 10 is cool. I think it introduces a lot of really cool things. It's not perfect for me, but I really, really enjoy it. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below. Are you a Death Watch fan, or do you hate Death Watch? I guess that's a good question too. Do you like Death Watch, or do you not like them?
I don't like the bad guys ever.
I like Death Watch a lot.
I do like Vader though, so I guess I can't say ever. But I like him because he's a good bad guy, and there's a story. He's not just evil for evil's sake.
So I feel like Death Watch is.
Yeah, they're misunderstood, but they're terrible.
They're not misunderstood. They're very well understood. They're just terrible. They're not all emo.
I guess I like the fact of how it pushes the story, but I'm never really going to be like, oh yeah, I like the bad guys.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, let us know in the comments what you think about this Death Watch arc. And as always, may the Force be with you always.